Hi, hello, what's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another video. Today, I'm going to be talking about how when God elevates you or when God calls you to a position, how no one more qualified, no one who looks like they know the job, can do the job more, can take that place because it's a God given position. Now, this is very timely because there was recently a situation where I had to go through basically coming into a new position, a new like in my life, right? And normally I do well with any kind of meetings, any kind of thing where I need to really, how do I say, it, advocate for myself, right? And this one time, um, a couple weeks ago, I really was not my best. Like I came off of a flight. Y'all know I went home for my mom's birthday party, so I came off of a flight. I had lost my voice, all types of stuff. And then I had to sit in this meeting and attempt to level up, right? And attempt to take on a new position. And I remember people asking me like, "How'd it go? How'd it go?" And the only thing I could say was, if it's supposed to be, I know that it's not going to be because of how well I showed up to that meeting, but because it's God's will. And so today I'm going to be talking about that in the scripture because as I was going through that transition, I was reading First Kings, and a lot of people don't really read certain chapters of the book, and I feel like this is one where I don't often hear people in. So I've been going through the book of First Kings since the end of August, but I'm gonna go back and just start talking about this because just to give you a little background history. Um, so Solomon, if you guys don't know, is one of the most wisest men in the Bible. And he's the one who's given us some of the greatest wisdom that we're ever going to get because it says that he was the wisest man, that he asked God for wisdom and God poured it out on him. Oh my goodness. So so he's the wisest man. Now his father was King David. So King David, everybody knows about King David, Goliath, all of that. And then we look at Solomon, which was his son, and so he was to take over the reign next. And so First Kings talks about the switching of King David going from being king, which we know, to his son taking over the legacy, which is Solomon, and that's what we're gonna get into today. So we're gonna be starting in First Kings 1, and I'm gonna go all the way to the end. I'm not gonna read the whole entire thing because that's y'all homework to do, but I want to break down different parts of this and really talk about what it takes when God leads you or levels you up, and like how do you walk into that. And then sometimes you could feel like I'm not worthy, or I need to do this or that. But the point is when God calls you, he calls you. You and a lot of times you ever heard that saying where it says that God call he doesn't call, sorry, I got a text message. He doesn't call the people who are worthy, he makes the people who he calls worthy. So in First Kings, couple of first verses, David is coming to the end of his reign. He's sitting in bed. He's like tired to the point where they gotta send people to. They're looking for a woman just so he could lay in her bosom and just kind of end his last couple of days in his reign. And so, as you know, David had multiple sons. We talked about Absalom. We talked about all his other kids, and Solomon was one of them. So he also had a son that was by the name of Adonijah. Adonijah. I don't know, y'all. It's Adonijah. Okay, so y'all tell me below, how do I say that? Write it out for me. Help me out. All right. And so I want to just talk about his son really quick. So it says in verse 5, it says, now Adonijah, whose mother was Haggith, put himself forward and said, I will be king. So David marked Solomon to be the next king, but now Adonijah, he steps up. He like, I'm about to be king. And why does he do this? It says, and I'm gonna start from now. Now Adonijah, whose mother is Haggith, put himself forward and said, I will be king. So he got chariots and horses ready with 50 men to run ahead of him. His father never rebuked him, asking, why do you behave as you do? He was also very handsome and was born next after Absalom. And in the King James version, it said he was a holy man. He was really into his word. He was really in it. He was dedicated to God. So what this is saying is that King David is coming to his reign. His son, I'm gonna just call him Adon for right now. Adon is like, my dad's reign is coming to, and I'm about to level up myself. I'm about to put myself in position. He starts preparing. That's back then. They would start getting different animals together. They'll start killing the fatty cows. All of this to symbolize like there's a new king or a new celebration coming to play. And this is what happens. And then all of a sudden, David, his mom gets wind from Nathan, because this guy Adon, he invites all different everybody, his other brothers and siblings, everybody who was in the community, but he leaves out his brother. And so now Nathan is like, and this is the guy who's like, who works for them and his dad and everything. He asked the mom like, hey, like, have you heard what the guy is doing? Like, isn't your son Solomon up next? And next thing you know, he puts it in her ear to go to the king to ask the king. And then this is when everything starts to take place. But the thing that I want to talk about now is that, number one, God will send people to advocate on your behalf. Nathan was advocating. If you read through the first Kings, what you notice is there's never a time where David is saying, "Ain't I supposed to be the king?" I mean, where there's Solomon saying, "Ain't I supposed to be the king? I'm next. I'm next." As far as we're concerned, in the first chapter, Solomon is somewhere living his life. He clearly, his mother knew, they knew that this was a call on his life, but he was out there just living his life. He didn't have to come fight his brother. He didn't have to come beef with his brother. He was just living his life, while behind the scenes, Nathan was noticing this was out of line. Nathan was going to his mother, and telling her. She was he was telling Nathan was telling the mother, go to the king, which was David, and ask him, propose these questions, say, hey, I realized that Adon is stepping up for king, but I thought that Solomon was supposed to be king. Has something changed? And then Nathan comes in and asks the same question, which then sparks for David to start to make the arrangements. Oh, okay, there we go. This is the light. Which then sparks for Davis to call for who's really supposed to be king. And so I just thought this was interesting, like I said, because when God positions you in a place, no one can take your place. No one can sit up there and say, oh, it doesn't matter how equipped they are, because his brother Adon was clearly more, not more, but he was equipped. He never had a problem. His dad never had to redirect him. He was a godly man. Like, he had everything that it took to be a king. So it wasn't like he didn't have kingmen in him, but kingmanship in him. But the thing was, is he wasn't the one. And when God calls us, a lot of times, that's how it is. It's not that we have anything that is so perfect that we were just, oh, we were perfect. We're this, and that's why we're getting this position. No, it's when God calls you, when God elevates you, no man can stop it, not even his brother. And so we're gonna get into that with Kings. The first king, that's the book we're gonna be reading and going. And then the last thing so yeah, that was my 2 points for this video, that only God can elevate you, no matter how qualified or disqualified you may seem. And even if you're going up against people who are qualified, you don't even have to go up against them. And the second thing was that God will send people to advocate for you. God will send people to put your name to the front. You don't have to fight to put your name to the front. And Adon was a clear example of putting his name to the front and then getting sent to the back. And Solomon, we don't even hear him advocating for his rightful position that God had called many years ago. But there he is. People are behind the scenes making changes for him to come up front. And I want to just say, whatever you're going through in life right now, you might be wondering like, oh, I feel like I'm supposed to be positioned, or I'm wondering why I'm stuck, or why I'm not further than I used to be. Understand that whatever position that God has marked for your life, that you may not see it right now, but there is people behind the scenes that are paying attention, people behind the scenes that are putting your name up front, and it will get arranged the way it's supposed to. And we don't have to advocate. We have the biggest advocator in our life, which is God, which is the Holy Spirit. And many times in the Bible, we see him make moves behind the scenes. So our job is to continue to just show up in our godly position, continue to love on people, continue to ask God every single day what's our direction and our purpose, but understand that when God elevates you, that no man can stop it. It doesn't matter about how qualified they are. When you are God's choice, it's solidified. All right, you guys, I hope that this message bless y'all today. And I'm gonna do my best to be on these YouTube videos. I had to get back in community because I was spending a lot of time by myself, y'all, and I fell. So I ain't even really been able to work out like that. It's just been a lot going on. So, but I'm gonna keep fighting. I'm gonna keep pushing to the next end. I'm gonna keep pushing through. But I love you guys. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and let somebody know. It doesn't matter who's competing against you when your God's choice is final. I'm out.